All right. Okay. The first video I did on this one did not go very well, and I don't expect the second video to go very well. Good afternoon, Swords 19. This video was in regards to the previous video I did of the shooting of Jayland Walker. This is the African American that was shot by police in Akron, Ohio, a little bit later, toward the end of last month. I think June 27th, if I'm correct. But I was criticized heavily, which is why I'm doing a follow-up video. In my belief, based on what I've seen, based on the evidence presented, that it was a justifiable shooting. I got tore apart for this. Now, I'm willing to add that I believe the 90 rounds fired at this guy would have been excessive. I'm fine with that. But I totally disagree that he did not deserve to be fired at all. I'm talking about the guy leading police on a high-speed chase. I'm talking about the guy firing out the window while being led on a high-speed chase. I'm talking about the guy being cornered, surrounded by over half a dozen officers with pistols trained on him, and him deciding to dart out the car. Why? Why would you do this? Panama, what does that say? Panama or whatever. No, I'm not saying the 60 shots are justified. I'm saying shooting him is justified. If you want to say they shot him too much, fine. But why would you lead police on a high-speed chase, shoot out the window of your vehicle while doing so, and when you're surrounded with nothing but trained officers, or officers with firearms trained on you, jump out of the car and expect nothing to happen? That is the response I'm hearing. We expected nothing to happen. We expected you to calmly chase this guy down and put him in handcuffs. Why would you do this, play Russian roulette with your own life, and expect a positive outcome? I do not get this. And by the way, the box is open. If you want to tear me a new one, that's fine. But I don't get it. I don't understand why anyone, doesn't matter what your skin color is, why would you play Russian roulette with your own life? P.S. I'm black, and that was fully justified, says Batwing. Yeah, I don't get it. I don't get it. Agreed he deserved to get shot, but it was excessive. That's a training issue. Stephen, I totally agree with that. I do agree that the way police are trained, they fired too many rounds. But make no mistake about it, whether they fired 90 rounds or one round, they fired to kill. And if you believe it would have been justified to fire 2 or 3 rounds at him, then you agree he deserved to be, for the police to at least attempt to take his life. You just believe that the 60 or 90 rounds is too much. But he was a justifiable shooting. That's what I'm trying to suggest. We can argue all day about 90 being too excessive. I agree with that. But he certainly deserved a few from what he did. The box is open. How am I getting this wrong? Somebody come in here and tell me, where am I getting this wrong? And by the way, tap the screens. Almost 1,000 of you in here. Get your boy likes up. You can hate on me while tapping the damn screen at the same time. But I don't understand it. Don't play Russian roulette with your and then to actually help you out. Just don't do this. That's the simple solution. YM Boss Man, where am I getting it wrong?
How you doing? How you doing? I'm not arguing your opinion or what you perceived from it or how you saw it. I just think it's kind of messed up for the families that's in grieving because they probably can't even have an open casket when it comes to the funeral. But what I wanted to say was, why are the police trained to kill? Even from our so-called slavery knowledge, even like if a slave was to run away and cause all this havoc and stuff, they was chased down like by dogs and held for captive and brought back to the land. Like with
Okay.
more with more
Okay. You're making okay. I get your point that police were literally created in this country to return escaped slaves back
yeah,
to the plantation.
and
I
that
agree with that
that was the point I
100%,
was
but
making.
that's
Yeah,
not what we're. what we're kind of talking about is Jayland Walker. I agree with the fact why police were
Yeah.
created and how wrong that is, but that does not pertain to Jayland at all. He was not an escaped slave
You,
being returned back to the
no,
foundation. I
no,
mean,
no, 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 no,
or
no.
plantation.
What I'm trying to
Go
say
ahead.
is, uh, as we move forward in time, we're in 2022, and the first thing is train to kill, and then we're talking about the gentleman that was shot over 60 times and had a hail of bullets of 90 or more bullets shot at
Okay.
him. That's
Let me
giving
ask you this:
that's giving
What?
a man no chance
How
at
would you?
at life.
How would you feel? How would you feel if they had only shot him twice? Would you think that was wrong?
Yeah, because police are trained to kill. If you go back to the statement that I made, we gotta remember that. And I'm not talking to be rude or disrespectful, but we gotta remember that the Europeans was was one of the agreements was that they were to police the states and protect the citizens.
Okay,
That was their
listen. Let me make this. I get what you're saying, and I'm not disagreeing with the history of police. I'm just really trying to kind of focus on this one issue. Like you said, you're bringing up the police were created to return slaves back to the plantation. That's true. Police were actually
and
enforcing Jim Crow laws. They were enforcing Jim Crow laws. All of that I agree with, but none of that pertains to this particular case. I'm asking, with him running from police and shooting out of his vehicle, and then most of us, when we get pulled over, we put our hands on 10 and 2. We don't jump out of the car with a bunch of firearms aimed at us. Do you not see anything he done as being wrong or dangerous to himself?
I could probably put him him being a danger to himself and probably to the situation. Yeah,
What
I
about
could
to the
say that.
public?
Yeah, that's what I mean to himself and a situation like the public. That's what I mean by that.
Okay.
Yeah, but if you just think about it, like the only thing that has changed is the technology. We've gone from horses to Hellcats and switches
Yeah,
and
but he's not. I get you're trying to bring up the slavery. I understand all that, but this guy does not fit that narrative. He, as you mentioned, slaves were not a danger to society.
it,
So you're admitting that this guy is far worse than anything that they were abusing back then. You didn't look at an escaped slave and say that slave was a danger to society and everybody else. So
no.
you're giving him credit that he does not deserve.
See, you, it's like because the dead can't speak, it's like he's giving a story that whoever wants to put an opinion on him, you got to remember, times really hasn't changed. We still are slaves to this country. We're still in debt. We're still working for another man. Uh, um,
Any idea why he would be wearing a ski mask at night, or should we not question that?
no, from my knowledge, he didn't even shoot. What What difference would it have made to shoot one time at a trail of polices, and then he didn't even shoot? It was supposed to have been a firecracker that had got shot into the sky, and they assumed it to be a gunshot. That's
You
from
can see
that's
there is
from
a
the police
traffic
camera
camera.
itself.
There is a traffic camera where you can literally see the flash inside of his car on the traffic camera.
But from the police camera standpoint, you've seen the firecracker go in the air and make a pop. But
So somebody just so in
that's what
other
I'm
words,
saying.
while he's involved in this high speed chase, there's just somebody who decided to use one firecracker in the middle of this chase. That's what we're
See
believing.
that's probably where we're going to go into the gun law uh conditions, because he probably did have an illegal firearm that probably scared him out of his life to be pulled over by the police and trying to explain that he had a gun on him, but they haven't proved that a round was shot out of that gun. or they haven't
Okay.
even picked up a casing. They haven't shown nothing to protect him and his. You gotta remember, it's a grieving side of the family. They haven't done
Right.
anything to try to protect anything in that
I guess the
corner.
question I guess the question I want to ask you is, do you think he did anything wrong?
What I think he did wrong, which most uh I want to say black Africans, black men do, whatever title you want to give us, is we run. We don't stop. He could have had him on a police chase for 20 miles per hour. Like, you don't have to stop your vehicle. You don't have to go as fast as you can
So
to try to.
I'm asking the question though. Do you think he committed any crimes at all?
Uh, the way the police are trained, if you run, they're expected to chase you and to lead with lethal force. Even George Floyd, he didn't even fight or run, but he was met with a demise of
Okay.
lethal
Yeah, but
force.
you're not exactly answering my question. I mean, it's
I
fairly a
asked you a
yes or no.
question.
Do you believe he committed any crimes at all?
Crime wise, no. Maybe probably a violation as a traffic stop. No, I don't think he committed any crime.
Okay. So they really had no business chasing him to begin with, then, right?
That's what I'm saying. He
Okay.
out of out of his reaction, he reacted to the lights and the sirens and the policeman behind him by running, and that's what you not supposed to do when it comes to uh law enforcement. You're supposed to comply with your best intelligence. I can give you a perfect example. When I was young, I first bought my first vehicle, and I was just driving. I was pulled over by a cop. He ran down on me and drew the gun out on me. I didn't even have a weapon, and his
What did
excuse
you?
was
Okay.
his
What
excuse
did you do?
his
Fair
excuse
enough. When
his
you had a
excuse
weapon
was
aimed
that
at you,
I
when
just
you
want
had a hold
I
on.
just
When you
no
had a
I
weapon aimed at you,
no
wait a
I
minute.
no no I didn't.
Wait a minute. You're throwing out too much. I
I
got
was
to get in
saying
here
something, but
somewhere.
you cut me right off. You
I'm,
I was
I'm
right,
asking. I
like
want to ask you about what you're talking about. When he had a weapon, when
I,
you said you got pulled over and the cop had a weapon aimed at you, what did you do in response to that?
I put my hands up and I said, "Whoa, whoa, whoa! What are you doing?" That's what I
Why
said.
didn't he do that? Why didn't Jayland do exactly what you did?
Because every man don't think the same. Me and
And
you
every
right now,
man don't live, and every man does not live through the event by thinking like that.
but every man isn't born with. You think if he was born on the right side of the stick or the right side of the street, he would be in any of those situations?
Let me.
Can you
I
answer that
can't answer
question?
that.
Can you
I
answer
can't.
that question?
I don't know how he might. I was born on the south side of Chicago, lived in north side of Milwaukee. I've lived in
But it looked
hoods
like
all
you
my
was
life.
born on
Robert
the right
Taylor,
side.
Cabrini
It looked
Green.
like you was
I
born
have
on the right side of
never.
the
I
stick.
don't get.
You got education. You're
I was
intelligent.
not. I was
You,
not. I was not single
I'm
family
talking about
home.
from the.
You
I'm talking
name it.
about
I
from
have
the
all of those
man you are
descriptions.
now. The man that I'm looking at now. I'm talking about the man that I'm looking at now.
Right. Well, let me make it clear to you. I don't care if you are a bank robber or a police officer. If you aim a gun at me and tell me to do something, I understand that not following those instructions can get me shot. So did you, which is why you didn't dart out the car or run. Why would you do
But
something like that?
but but see, it's like you're trying to spark up a conversation or a dialogue based off
I'm
of
just trying to be logical.
why. No, I'm trying to be logical with you too. The only point that you're making is why did he do that? Why would he put himself in that situation?
Right.
Why did he play Russian roulette with his life?
Right.
He might not have had any encounters with the police. You don't know that. You don't know his background. You don't know uh really where he came from. That's why I'm saying that the dead don't speak. So anybody
Okay.
can trample his name. Anybody can make him look like a person that he's not. His name Jayland Walker. He don't sound like a Lamar uh, Jackson to me. That sounds like a street name.
Okay.
Jayland
All right.
Walker, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can't go into that, but I gotta move it on, man. I appreciate you coming through. I got other folks in the box. I do need to move it on, but we just vehemently disagree with each other. That's fine. I
No, it's not that
invite
we
you to come back
disagree with
on.
each other. We can learn from this and
That
put
is
out
true.
to communities
All
like,
right.
don't
No
run
problem.
from authority. You know what I'm saying?
Right. All
But
right, man. Appreciate
I
it.
appreciate it.
100% agree. Catch you
Thanks.
later. All right. And listen, like I said, it's fine, but obviously him suggesting that Jayland Walker did not even commit a crime, me and him are going to be on opposite sides of the spectrum. There's no way in the world I'm going to look at what I've seen and suggest that the guy didn't commit a crime. Now, he made a point where you don't know what background the guy is from. I don't really think it matters. If you have a driver's license in America, by law, if you see blue lights behind you, you have to stop, irrespective of whatever background you've come from. If there are blue lights on behind you and you do not stop, you are committing a crime, which could lead into a felony. He didn't stop. Now, I understand people being afraid of the law and things like that, and there's a lot of legitimate reasons to be afraid of the law. You can drive at 5 miles per hour. You can dial 911 and tell people you're afraid of the law. All of that makes sense. But if you're going to question that and ignore the fact that he's wearing a ski mask at night, then you're kind of being biased in the conversation. I don't know why the guy had a ski mask on. I mean, I know there's some COVID protocols, but he didn't have a mask over his mouth. Why are you driving at night with a ski mask on? Now, I see some folks in the comments saying he never shot. I seen the traffic camera footage. I seen the light flashed in his vehicle. I watched the police chase in real time. And the minute they hear the pop, they call out shots fired. All of that, if you want to say that none of that actually happened, I will just submit to you, when you have cops on all sides of your vehicle yelling out to get out the car and they're all aiming a gun at you, disrespecting those orders can get you shot. You can argue that he shouldn't have been shot 6 times or 60 times. Whatever argument you want to present, I'm just going to tell you, when there's a bunch of people aiming guns at you, telling you to do something, if you don't do it, I don't care if they're cops or bank robbers, if you don't do it, the chances of you being shot increase astronomically. You can listen or you can die. That is really it. You can listen or you can die. I don't understand why somebody would have a gun aimed at them and think they could just totally ignore the firearm, and it make no sense. I don't get it. Modern colonizer, what am I doing wrong?
Nothing, man.
Modern colonizer,
can you hear me?
Okay, you breaking up. It might be my connection. I don't know, but you're breaking up. I can't hear you.
No, I'm in a bad area, brother. I'll talk. All right.
Okay. All right. Yeah, your connection is breaking up really bad. All right. Now, I see folks in the audience crazy, whatever. You want to call me a raccoon, take off the rat. You want to call me Uncle Ruckus. You want to call me a sellout, whatever. I'm just simply saying, I don't give a damn if it's somebody breaking in your house at 3 a.m. or if it's a bunch of cops. If somebody has to drop on you, meaning you're looking down the barrel of a firearm, and in this case, over a half a dozen barrels are aimed at you, do not ignore those orders, or you could die. Why can't we understand this? You don't just get to run out of the damn car and take off into the wild blue yonder. And, well, I should have been able to get away. They should have chased me. They should all put their guns in their holsters and ran after me. Maybe. But why would you play Russian roulette with your own damn life like that? I don't get it. Now, my MAGA side of the audience, a lot of my audience tends to be MAGA. I had this same damn argument about Ashley Babbitt. Same argument. Just like a lot of folks on the left believe that Jayland Walker is innocent, a lot of folks on the right believe that Ashley Babbitt is innocent. And I have the exact same argument. When someone is aiming a gun at you and they're yelling shit, do not ignore that person with the gun. Jayland Walker was looking down the barrel of 7, 8 fucking guns. I don't get it. Let me go on to the next person. Aim to please. I love that. I might not The person may not aim to please me, but I appreciate the name.
Right.
Aim to please. Good
Yeah.
afternoon.
Yeah. That's just a name I go by. Can you hear me?
All right. Nothing wrong with that.
Okay. So I'm hearing what you're saying, and like I say, you got two sides of it. You're taking I'm gonna say conservative view of it, and
Okay.
you're discounting all of your hood knowledge being on the south side of Chicago. There are
No,
certain
I'm
things.
not.
Hold on, let me say this.
I'll
Let me say
I'll
this
let you
why.
continue. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Let me say why.
Okay.
I'm gonna put a little justification on his actions, even though I agree with you that the sensible thing for anybody to do is to comply and try to make it home. That's just the intelligent
Okay.
thing to do, because you got a strong chance of losing if you gamble against those odds. It's just the way it goes, right? But
Wait a minute. Wait
at,
a minute. When you say sensible chance of making it home, what do you mean by outrunning the police or leading them on the chase?
no, I'm saying by complying after those
Okay. Right.
whatever led up to
Right.
him getting to the point where they were still trying to apprehend him after the high speed chase, which I still think is a foolish endeavor unless the car is stolen, because you can always go to that person's house. 90% of the black people in America, and I'm just throwing a number out there, don't have passports, so they're not going anywhere. It's just going to take you a
Okay.
little longer to get them. I don't know
How
what
do you know
crime
that
he.
wasn't a stolen car? I mean, the
That's what
guy
I
has a
said.
ski mask on. How do you know? How do you
I
know
said
that
if.
the person who? Okay, no, this is what I'm asking. You're saying, catch him later because it's 90% of black men are not going anywhere. What,
If it's not
considering
a
he
stolen
had a
car.
right, how do you know it's actually him driving that car?
No. I'm saying as far as investigative measures, if a individual is in that car, right, you got a
Right.
strong chance of finding out who owns the car, and that person more than likely is going to say who had the car.
Not if it's stolen. But a guy with a ski mask on is
Okay,
driving a car. So
I can give you a justification for the ski mask. I'm not saying he was thinking like this,
no.
but
Here, let me respond to your first statement.
go ahead.
Let's say the police do exactly what you said. We can catch them later. We got the plates. Black folks don't travel anywhere, so they go to the house and they actually take the guy down for questioning. We got you on video running from us. Here's the body cam footage and everything.
Right.
His lawyer, assuming he's smart enough to ask for a lawyer, would point at the foot. That driver has a ski mask on. That's not my client. That whole conversation is over with at that point.
But we don't know when he put the ski mask on. You can't see that. At
Okay, and we don't know.
no time
We
can we
don't know if he's had it
ascertain
on
when he
the.
put the ski mask on.
Okay, I'm just simply saying, based on what we've seen, letting this guy get away, particularly after you see a flash of light come out of his car, is not likely to happen.
I'm just okay. So let's just keep on this same assumption, because neither one of us was there, and we're only going by footage. That could have been a phone call light shining in the car. We have no clue what that light was.
You can see and hear two things. First of all, you can see the traffic cam footage of the car zooming by when the flashing light goes off. It's pretty clear it's not a phone. And not only that, but you can also hear the police on their body cams, on their radios, communicating the actual chase. And when the shot goes off, the first thing the cop says is, "Shots fired." He just fired out the window. So you
Okay, so
chasing behind somebody. You can tell the difference between a cell phone and a flash of light.
all right, so let's agree. Let's see if we come to agreement to this. Do police
Okay.
lie?
Yeah, all the
Do
time.
do they
So do
do they
suspects.
hold on? Do they falsify the severity of a situation to justify their premeditated decisions in a
That has
pursuit
happened.
like this?
That has absolutely happened more than a few times.
So
Yes.
when I see footage like that, like I say, until it's broken down and it's clear, I'm not going to assume on either side who was right or who was wrong. But I can
Okay.
come to this conclusion. At the time that he was shot, he had not committed a capital murder that justified murder. because he did not have a gun, he was not a threat, and he was fleeing from the police.
Okay,
Can we
how do
agree
the
on that?
police know? How do the police know he didn't have a gun?
Because neither one of them was shot. He
So
was
you
fleeing.
can you so so in other words, unless I shoot the police, they have no right to shoot back at me.
You saying shoot back at me, but at the time that he jumped and ran out the car, no shots was fired. We don't know the sequence from when that shot was fired to the time his car had stopped and he started to flee. We don't know how much
Okay,
time elapsed between that.
well, from the time he got out of the car to the time he was shot is mere seconds. Now, okay, here's
Right.
the second point. Okay, when you said he was unarmed, the police don't see a flash of light come out of his vehicle. They don't call it over the air, shots fired. Are they supposed to just automatically assume when he jumped out of the car, he left the gun behind?
Either way, it's supposed to be a de-escalation process. So you don't
With a
start
guy
into
shooting at you.
time out. Because I'm gonna throw something else at you. When the kids was in the room in Uvalde and they knew it was a gunman in there willing to take lives, they didn't just bombard in that room.
Everybody knows the kid. Everybody knows the police in Uvalde they screwed up. I don't even know why you're bringing them up in the conversation. We know they did a terrible job. In fact, the chief down there done already resigned.
The reason I'm using both situations because no matter what, you still have to assess the situation before you react. Because he was running does not mean he's a threat.
So what should the cops have done? Let him just run off into a neighborhood and hope to have caught up with him?
Let the dogs out like they normally do.
What if they didn't have any dogs with them? What if they didn't have any dogs with them?
You got 13 police there and you ain't called the K9 unit? I don't know how.
I've seen plenty of chases. Yeah, I've seen plenty of chases that come to an end. Well, I don't know what that particular town was, but I've seen Akron, Ohio. I don't know what the actual protocol is in each individual town across the United States, but all police chases do not involve a canine. They're not all just calling canines like that in the middle of the night.
Okay, so I'm taking that point. All I'm showing is that there is other measures than murder, or you might just call it shooting a person in the back. It's more options than that to that. Because
let me ask you this, because you pointed out the fact that police sometimes lie and misrepresent information, which is a fact.
Right.
My last caller pointed out whether it's police being created to chase down slaves and return blacks to plantations, which is a fact. Police enforcing Jim Crow laws, which is a fact. There is no denying in the African American community, and despite how you guys feel about me, even I agree, police need some serious reform. Considering that we all think like this, why the hell would you do what he did? You already know the police. You already know the police may lie, may do this, may do that. Why would you ignore their instructions and put your life and literally give them an excuse to do what they did?
Now, once I'm gonna say again, I don't know what he did for the chase to begin in the first place, right? So
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter about all that. You see him on camera. You see them on camera. That ain't what I'm saying. You see them on camera aiming guns at him, yelling, "Get out the car." He takes off and runs. That alone, knowing how police are, that alone is a dumb thing to do. Why would you do that?
No, see, you're saying it's a dumb thing, and I'm saying you have to take yourself out of your own way of thinking in this instance. I mean, like I say, I'm agreeing with you halfway, and I'm trying to get you to look at it from another way that at this present time, you're saying it's not logical and not smart, but I'm saying you can be bred into a way of thinking. So just hear this situation out. I see the police behind me, right? Say I stole the car. Okay. Say I robbed the bank. Anything. First and foremost, I'm not trying to go to jail, right?
Okay.
So hypothetically speaking, I got a ski mask in my car because I am a criminal. I do things that I don't want my face to be noticed when I'm doing them, okay?
Okay. All right, now we getting somewhere. Keep going.
Right. So I put the ski mask on, and I jump out the car to run because I think I can elude these polices and then live to see another day. I'm not saying he's no angel. I'm just saying that when a man is fleeing and you're not directly in threat of harm, shooting him in the back has to be a
Okay,
no-go,
okay.
period.
Now, here's the issue I have. You just said I'm thinking that I can take off running, and I can elude them or escape them. You see six,
Right.
8 guns or whatever it was pointed at you by people who do nothing but spend time in the range shooting shit. You're not
I'm
going to
not saying he's
outrun all
smart.
of those bullets. You're not
I'm
going.
not saying
I
he
don't care
was
how
smart.
fast you can run. You're going to get shot.
Okay, so think it from this point of view. Maybe at that time he's thinking logic. He's thinking this is his logic.
Did I lose you? Okay, you're breaking up. Can you hear me? Okay, I don't know. I was a good caller, but unfortunately, I guess his signal
I mean,
dropped out. If it's me dropping out, folks, but he was breaking up so much. So that was I enjoyed talking to him. We disagree on a few things, but it was breaking up. Jayland was probably shot in the neck. Jayland got shot all over the damn place. It was an excessive amount of shots fired at the guy. I'm not disagreeing with that. For you guys who are pissed off that I'm suggesting it was a justifiable shoot and automatically assuming I mean it was justifiable in regards to 90 rounds, you're wrong. I'm admitting that the amount of rounds fired at the man was excessive. I'm saying he deserved to be shot, just not 60 damn times. But if you do what he did, the chances are very high that you're going to get what he got. In fact, the only way to defend Jayland is to bring up mass killers and say it didn't happen to them. If you got to put yourself in the same company as somebody who shot up a school or shot up a supermarket, that lets you know that you are a bad person. You're trying to use a mass killer to say, well, I'm actually better than him. If that is the bar you got to make for yourself, you got to lower the bar that much for people to see that you were treated wrong. That should show you alone that you have done something horribly bad. You're not getting compared to a church lady or a rocket scientist or somebody getting their GED. You're comparing yourself to a damn mass killer. I'm okay. I'm not as bad as the guy who shot up a supermarket. Come on now. All right, let me go on to the next caller. Minto. Let me see if I can bring in. Well, I think I just got Callum by mistake. I don't get it. I don't get it. If you do something stupid things can happen to you.
Hey,
Good afternoon.
how's it going?
It's going rough. Do you know this case with Jayland Walker?
Yeah, I do. I've done a bit of research into it tonight. I've just been sitting and listening to you speak, and I just wanted to I guess, because we're all kind of sitting here wondering why did he flee? I guess, why did he do all these things? Why did he run? Why did he do this? And so,
why was he wearing a ski mask?
Yeah, like why was he doing all of those things, I guess. And there are some people, I don't know if there's any truth to it. It's all just speculation. But there are some people that I have seen suggest that it could have been a police suicide, considering, I guess, his life at that point, because I don't know if it was his fiance or his wife, but she passed away a month before.
Yeah,
and the ring,
I heard about that. Well, let me say this: if it was a police suicide, he had a pistol in the car. All he had to do was stop and hold the pistol up, and they would have shot him. I mean, he made it look like he was trying to actually get away.
Right. Yeah, that's very true. I guess I think what most people have an issue with is not so much that it happened, but just the excess, like the excessive force. Because in the videos as well, I don't know if you've seen, I'm sure you have, but there's one of the officers actually that said at least 3 times, like, to cease fire, and they continued to shoot.
I'm in the camp that I agree with you that the shooting was excessive. Let me ask you this question based on what you've seen so far. Do you believe if they had shot him 3 or 4 times, do you believe that that may have been justified? Let's say they only shot him 2 or 3 times or even once. Do you believe that may have been justified?
That's a good question. I think so, maybe, because like I'm kind of putting myself in that situation, right? I guess. Like I agree that, you know, he did shoot. Like in those videos I can hear a gunshot come from the car. So the police are
Right.
seeing it as a potential threat, of course. So, you know, they see this person as a threat, and they don't know that he no longer has the weapon. Like, of course they don't know. How would they know that? Um
Right.
so so yeah, probably, like if it was one or two times, sure, but my issue is just, yeah, with the excessive amount of times.
Yeah. Well, I think you and I agree. I'm not here trying to pretend like him being shot 60 times is something we should ignore. I'm not on that. I'm not in that area at all. I do believe they should, just like the chief of police said, make sure that the police are held accountable for every round they fired. And if some of them ultimately get charged with excessive use of force, I'm fine with that. But he
Yeah.
certainly deserved to be shot at. Now, folks, we got shot in the back and all of this kind of stuff. There is footage that appears to show him possibly turning around and looking back at the officers. And we know he darted out despite all the guns being aimed at him, left the car still rolling. You know, there's a host of things this man did which led to his own demise. If you want to suggest, well, the officer should have overlooked all of this bad behavior and helped this man maintain a life that he clearly did not want himself, we can argue that. But yes, you yourself, Calvin, so you're suggesting that he was a justifiable shoot, just not 60 times, correct?
Yeah, and I think that the from what I see from the footage as well, that they need a bit of training. Just because of that officer saying to ceasefire and nobody listening. And one of the body cams as well, it was quite messy in the sense that one of the officers nearly shot at the other officers.
Yeah.
So it just seems
Yeah,
like their
they went
protocol.
nuts. Yeah, they went nuts on the shooting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So it just seems like there may be some protocol and maybe some training issues as well that needs to be kind of solved, I guess. But yeah, I think you and I do agree on more than we don't. Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, well, let me move it on, man. I'm doing a lunchtime live here, and I do appreciate you coming through.
No worries. Thank you. Have a good one.
Absolutely, you too. Comments actually asking what crime did he commit? You really see this situation as him just being a normal citizen driving through the city at night and just being harassed by police. You're totally ignoring the high-speed chase. You're totally ignoring him jumping out of his car and taking off running while the car is still in drive or neutral or something like that. You're ignoring all of that, huh? You're ignoring, there's so much here. Listen, let me make this clear. Like I said, being from the south side of Chicago, I am one who totally agrees the police go above and beyond and violate people's rights all the damn time. Stop and frisk is a primary example. I've had family members wrongfully stopped. I've personally been profiled. Personally, myself been profiled. I'm not defending the notion that cops are innocent all the damn time. I don't see a badge and automatically see a halo along with it. However, when I see something on camera that looks like this, I'm not going to automatically assume the cops are in the wrong. When I see the guy fleeing, I see the radio calls come out, I see the blue lights on, and this guy is speeding up. He's not slowing down. He's not driving 5 miles an hour, making 911 calls to a police saying, I'm being chased in a dark neighborhood and I don't feel safe. No, he's trying to get away. He's trying to get away, and it didn't go well for him. All right, moving on. Who was this? YM Boston. I think we talked before. Can get this right. You can't train people to be human. You can. I don't know. You can say that about the police. Like I said, 6, 8 guns aimed at you. People yelling instructions. I don't care if they're bank robbers. I don't care if that's your damn neighbor, whoever. When you got that many pistols aimed at you, if you don't follow the instructions of those who are aiming a pistol at you, chances of you getting shot are pretty damn high. Boss man, good afternoon. Boss man, can you hear me? Okay, I don't know what went on, but Boss Man, YM Boss Man was in there. Cannot hear me. Let me make sure in the comments. Can you guys hear me? Just let me know for sure if you can hear me or not. I've been pulled over 200 times in 2 years. I'm not a career criminal. Sugarnomics, that is awful. I have not been pulled over anywhere near like that. But My guess is, even though you are being wrongfully stopped and police profile African Americans all day, every day, I'm not disagreeing with it. You don't dart out. You keep your damn hands at 10 and 2. You don't jump out of the car, and you probably do this even though the cop is not aiming a gun at you. If you got cops on all sides of your vehicle, yelling at you, cussing at you, with pistols aimed at you, you're putting your hand on 10 and 2 just because they came up. Imagine if they were all aiming guns at you and you done something like what he did. How could you not at least understand there is a risk of getting shot doing something like that? And that's before we talk about the flash of light coming out of his car or the shots fired on the radio. All right, let me try this one again here. I don't get it. I don't understand how you could ignore all of this and defend this guy as a saint. You want to talk about the excessive rounds? Yes. But this guy put his own life in the hands of police who we are all admitting you can't trust. Why do that? If you admit the police have a problem, if you believe badges mistreat African Americans, then you would have to agree what he did is about the dumbest thing you could do. Looking at the comments. That's only because you are black, says Mama Lee. You know something? I am totally one who would admit I believe being a minority does not help you out in the criminal justice system, does not help you out doing a traffic stop. We all are admitting that, folks who are defending Jayland, defending this guy. So if you know that, why would you defend somebody that acted like he did? If you believe that the police need to be retrained, they need to be reformed. Until that happens, you would have to understand doing what he did places yourself in great peril. I mean, like, really, why is this so difficult to understand? I just do not understand how folks are looking at what I got callers saying he did absolutely nothing at all. Did not commit a crime. Just totally could drive through town at high speed, dart out while the cops are pointing guns at him and take off running. He didn't do it. Boss man.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Loud and clear.
I just wanted to make the point that we as people, as a country, as us supposed to come together and move forward as a country to redeem America and everything. We as police, especially as trained with lethal force, they can't have a biased mindset, because we have a lot of school shootings and a lot of men walking around here with AR-15s proudly shooting up schools, shooting up institutions.
I didn't drop him. What the hell just happened? I didn't do that. Burnt Coat 21 said people do dumb things when they're scared. That is 100% true. But if you do something dumb and it looks like somebody else who does things when they are trying to be sinister or trying to commit a crime, you have to understand your actions will come with consequences. Let's say I'm afraid of some guys walking down the street and I don't want them to see me. So I break in your house at 2 a.m. to hide from them. I look just like a criminal. Chances are me coming in your house at 2 a.m. is you're going to treat me like a criminal. The fact that I only came in your house because I was scared of my enemies coming down the street is not going to matter. You're doing something that looks criminal, even though you're doing it out of fear. The person that is dealing with you does not know that. When the police are chasing you down the street at high speed, they don't know you're running because you're scared. Bank robbers and folks who have committed felonies do exactly what you're doing. So they're going to treat you like somebody like that. It's just the way it is. If I'm afraid and cops have guns on me, I'm going to hit grounds, hands out. Wait a minute. If I'm afraid and cops have guns on me, I'm going to hit ground, hands out. So if you are scared and the cops have guns aimed at you, you're going to lay flat out on the ground. Yeah. That is the only option you have. I mean, you could take off running and hope for the damn best, but that is dumb. I mean, it's no different than if you're cornered by somebody who says, give me the keys to your car, give me your money, give me your wallet, and they're aiming a gun at you. You can take off running, but you're putting your life in their hands, hoping that they won't pull the trigger. You can talk all day, every day, about them pulling the trigger and how wrong that is. But at the end of the day, you made the decision to run and decided, I am going to put my life in their hands. And it didn't work out. It didn't work out. If you want to charge these cops with excessive use of force, I can see that. 90 shots does appear to be excessive, but how is their training? We see cops involved in gunfights all the time, and they fire a lot of rounds. Now, the argument is, well, he wasn't armed. How would the cops know that? They know he's fired a shot, or at the very least they heard it called out on the radio. So when they caught up with him, they've all heard that call over radio of shots fired. He just fired a shot out the window. They've all heard that. So when they see him, they're automatically thinking this guy has a gun and he's willing to shoot at police with it. So they're amped up already. For folks who, but they should have tased him. You're not going to tase a guy that's in full sprint that may have a gun on him. You see how many people have been tased and continue to struggle? You're gonna risk tasing somebody, but you got to run after him. If you're going to fire the two prongs at him, you got to be fairly close to him to even do that. Plenty of people are on video being tased and pulling the prongs right out of them. You're going to do that to a guy with a gun? They don't know he's not armed. All right, going on to the box. Let's try this one more time. Memento, I don't know why I can't bring you on here, but let's try it again. Cops have guns on me. Yeah, I don't understand it. I really don't. They 1,000% tried. Oh, you said they actually tried to tase him. Wow.
Yeah.
And I see folks, they did try to tase him. And that's what I'm trying to point out. Tasers do not always work in the first place. The prongs have to have a certain amount of spread. They got to hit you in a certain part of the body, et cetera, et cetera. And you're talking about a guy that you think is armed. Memento, good afternoon.
Hey, how you doing? I hope you had a happy Independence Day.
Wasn't too bad. I ate pretty good. Always good to hear from you, man. It was all right, but this situation here, am I getting this wrong? Am I really that far off?
I've been listening to you for a while, for about at least 3 callers all the way through, and I think you've got it right. But I wanted to listen for a while and then call in because I've watched a YouTube video that broke this down, and the YouTube video, the guy's called Donut Operator. I guess he was law enforcement, and he showed.
And he has video. I've seen that. He actually he freeze frames the guy getting out of the car with the ski mask on. He makes a point to let you know they didn't even know the guy was black. They didn't even know he was black in that frame. But go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, I was just wanting to say that that's cool that you've seen that too. But he's showing 6 different body cams.
Yep, all 6 of them. Yep, he shows every cop that approaches that scene.
I think I want to say there were 8 cops that fired their weapons, and they were spread out. So, yeah, he probably. I mean, if he was hit 60 times. He was hit all over. Some of them shots are going to be in the back and in the side and all kinds of stuff. But he does turn around, and I guess he left his gun. It looked like I think it was a Glock, but there was a gun. There was a gun in the car. They found the shell casing from where he shot later. But that's all after the fact.
Right.
They would have never actually known that until afterwards.
Right. Now, I guess the argument I would agree with is that it does appear that he got shot too many times. But you are talking about people who are trained to hit the target. So, you run from the cops in a straight line. It ain't that damn hard to hit you. Now, I do agree they probably fired too many rounds, but I certainly think he earned at least a few rounds. Even if it was only 1 or 2, he earned being shot.
Yeah, if you've already shot at them and put their life in danger and then ran and then you get out wearing a ski mask, there's a lot of things to go into effect there. I don't know why they basically mag dumped on him, though. I think if you're well trained enough, you know what, though? I'm not law enforcement, so I can't say. It's my opinion. If you're well trained enough that you can do a double tap or shoot maybe 3 or 4 rounds and you're confident that you've hit your target, you can call ceasefire right there. But all these other guys, I mean, they're shooting. There's 8 cops and they shot over 90 rounds. That's over 10 rounds
Yeah,
apiece.
it's overkill. It's overkill. If he had got shot once or twice and lost his life from that, I would, yeah, it'd be totally justified. In fact, I think there would probably be a few folks arguing on his behalf now that would probably be on the other side. So the argument that is excessive, I think is a legitimate argument, but it was a justifiable kill, in my opinion. You just don't do what he did.
I have no idea. I have no idea what he did. I don't like that when the reports come out, it's always really shaky. It lacks a lot of details, and it basically just went to I think the way it was reported was, cops shoot an unarmed black man over 60 times, and that's what the initial report was, and that's bad to put that out right away in the state we're in. That's really
that's an agenda, and I'm willing. I with my audience primarily being MAGA and to the right, I criticize oftentimes agenda-driven news sources coming from the right, but this is agenda-driven news sources coming from the left. If you just simply say, police shoot unarmed black man, 60 times, fired 90 rounds, it definitely makes the police look horrendous. But you take out the fact that they clearly called out a shots fired call over the radio. Police have, put it this way, police have gotten to the point, and I'm not going to say it in some cases is not earned, but police have gotten to the point now when they say something happened, nobody believes them. I mean, they called out, this guy is shooting at us while running away from us. And half of America don't even believe him anymore. That's really bad. That's a problem.
There has been some really bad things happen. I saw Philandro Castile. I don't even know if I'm saying that name right now, but
yeah,
I'm sorry about that. But yeah,
is he the one that had to? Is Philandro the one that was in the car with his girlfriend and said he had a gun in the glove compartment and they shot him up?
I know he was in the car with his girlfriend, and he did tell the cop, "Yes, I have a gun." And
yeah, that was wrong. Now that case appears to be totally wrong. Not only did he announce he had a gun, but he had a little kid and his girlfriend in the car, and there was a cop on both sides of the car. So there was another cop on the passenger side flanking the vehicle, and only the cop on one side of the car shot, which means the other guy clearly did not see any threat, even though he was looking in the vehicle. So the Philandro Castile case is, that's a horrendous case of police injustice. I agree with that. This right here is a guy who's in a commission of, he's actively committing felonies, and he gets killed.
Yeah, I don't get the whole ski mask thing.
I don't either.
I don't either. Unless it was part of a costume or something else, but. Was
the gun part of the costume too?
Yeah.
Was the gun part of the costume as well?
Yeah. Well, I'll say this: watching the different body camera footage, you can clearly see that they chase him on foot for a little ways. They did try to deploy a taser, and it failed. That was shown, and I mean, I don't know if this was profiling. I don't think it was necessarily. I don't know what
it was a bad response by Jayland. No matter, even if it is profiling, and I've been profiled myself, and it's horrible to be profiled. I've been stopped and frisked. It is horrible to go through that, but it's not going to do you any benefit to do what he did in response to that.
That's true. It certainly did not work out for him.
Yeah. And it's not going to work out for most people that do that. I mean, unless there's 1,000 people standing around with cameras, it's never going to work out to do something like it. I always say this. To me, getting stopped by police, I always say it's like 1970s baseball. For some of you guys who are old enough, when they used to play baseball before the day of instant replay, if you got called out by the umpire, I don't care how bad that call was, you may have been safe by a mile. If they called you out, there was no instant replay. No matter how much you argue, no matter how much you kick dust on the umpire, that call was going to stand. You can argue all you want. If you keep arguing, they're going to eject you from the game. That's the same thing when you get pulled over by police on the side of the road. You can argue against what they're doing all day, every day. But at the end of the day, that call is going to stand. If you start fighting, which is the same as kicking dust on the umpire, they're going to eject you from the game, which could be your life. So you're not going to win on the side of the road. Now that in the day and age of cameras, you can film stuff, which would be like instant replay. So now you can kind of get some calls overturned. But that has to go by through another higher up umpiring force. You cannot win on the side of the road telling the cop what you're doing is not right. You are going to lose. And until folks understand that, this kind of stuff will keep happening. I got to move on, but I'll give you the last word.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's I guess all right. I'd like to know what the stop was for. I'd like, what in the world happened there? What made him, what was going on in his personal life? Why would you do that? And
I'd like to know too. I mean, I guess they would have to ultimately explain why they decided to pull him over in the first place. But even if it's a bad stop, you can't do all of that. I mean, I don't care if they pulled you over for. I don't care if the cop admitted to you, I'm pulling you over because you're black. You can't take a shot at them and take off at high speed and expect all of that to go away. I mean, I don't have an answer for it.
Yeah, that does seem like that, like the second to last caller, I guess. Seems like that may have been meant as suicide by cop.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I don't know, but yeah, if you do what he did, chances are you're going to get what he got. All right, man, I appreciate you coming through. You know how it works. Got to move it on.
All right, have a good one. Thank you.
You too. You too. Comments. Look at in the box. What is this? Oh shoot, let me try this one here. They have already stated that get your facts right. Cops must justify use of deadly force. I think when you start shooting at cops, you've kind of already given them the justification. No video showing suspects shooting at police. That is not true. There is traffic cam footage showing his car zooming by and a flash of light coming out of it while the police are in tow. There is footage of police chasing him, and you could hear the shot over their radios and hear them announcing he just shot out the vehicle. Now, I get the notion that police are so mistrusted that we don't even believe what they say. That's fair enough, but they said it. They said, shots fired, he just took a shot at us out the window. That was called over the radio. So now when the police show up and they got guns aimed at the guy and he's still not complying, they try to tase the guy and he's still struggling to get away. You really think that nothing bad could happen to this guy under all of these circumstances? You think he's just going to be home chilling on the couch like Seinfeld eating cereal? Are you for real? Let me go back to the box. I don't know, for some reason I could not. Some of my me bring folks up, so I apologize. The order or something's going. Agnostic.
Hey, how you doing now, awesome liberal?
I'm doing good. Am I messing this up? Am I getting this wrong on this guy?
Well, I mean, to a degree, you're getting a lot of the information right, but I just can't see a justified shooting that man that many times. I mean, I can understand him.
Agreeing with that.
I can understand him.
So what if they only shot him once? What if he only got shot once? Would you have thought that was justified?
Yeah, that'd have been totally justifiable.
Okay.
2, 3, 4 times,
okay,
yeah, he'd been justifiable.
Okay, so you do agree that he earned them trying to at least take his life, because even one shot.
No, he did not earn it. He put himself in a position. He did not earn it. Okay. He put himself in a position to be fired on. Okay, nobody earns the right to be killed. Nobody earns the right to be killed.
Okay, all right. My mistake on the word. Yeah. So he did put himself, based on his own actions, based on what you're saying, his actions would have made shooting him at least once justified. That's what you're saying.
Yes. Well, yeah, okay, 2 or 3 times. I can understand him getting shot 2, 3, 4 times, but
that's enough to kill.
No, that's. Okay, so I mean, that's a serious issue.
Enough to kill. Yeah, so even you are saying that his actions put him in a predicament where he could have been shot at least 2 or 3 times. That's enough by far to kill somebody. So you
Well,
just
people,
believing that the amount of. Go ahead.
nobody. I mean, like I was saying, I was raised in the '60s and the '70s. My dad always told me, never run from the cops and don't talk back to them. Never have court on the street. You have court in the courthouse. He said, you
Exactly.
just follow his orders, go to jail, and we'll deal with it later. He said,
Right.
because they are trained to shoot you down like a dog if you put yourself in that position.
And let me
Point
say
blank.
this.
I try
Right.
to educate everybody about police stops, and I tell people all the time, don't talk to the police. It's that simple. And now they're trying to pass a law where your Miranda rights don't mean anything.
I have not heard about that one.
Oh, you didn't hear about that one?
No, I did not hear
They
about
can go. They don't need no warrant. They can search you, do whatever The Supreme Court passed that.
All right. Now you're a black. I can't see your picture, but you're a black man, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Somebody in the comments asked that, but I will say this: just like yourself being told they're trained to shoot you down, if you're African American, certainly if you're from my generation, I'm 50, and if I would say if you're probably 25 years of age or older, you have been taught to some degree, at least even a little bit, that cops cannot be trusted. There's a lot of bad cops out there. I'm willing to admit that as well.
Oh
I
yeah.
was
I
taught
mean,
that way.
my experience, man. I could tell you story after story of me
We
even
all,
going to
we
court
all have.
and
That's the
winning
problem. We
court
all have
cases
stories.
against the police.
Right. We all have stories. That's true. But this is the point I'm trying to make. Considering that we are all generally brought up that way, you would think we would be the least group likely to put police to the test because we all been told you can't trust them, and they're going to shoot you.
Well, let
So
me.
our particular group of people. Go ahead.
Right. But let me tell you what the issue is, and and I have to look at it as when I was a kid, and the way children are now and young adults, and
Right.
like I had an issue with my son. I was telling him, my son argued with me. No, you can't do this, can't do that. I said, okay, do it your way. Sure enough, man, the cops slapped him on the ground, beat him up, and handcuffed him. I go, so I said, did that work? I said, if you'd have done exactly what I told you to done, you wouldn't have got slapped on the ground, handcuffed like that. I said, I said, I told you. I said, man, you can't have court on the street.
I would tell you, when you look at someone like Martin Luther King, one of the most successful protesters in terms of getting justice and getting things fixed the right way, he did exactly the opposite of what folks are doing now. I mean, you wouldn't have seen him fight with cops on the side of the road. At least that's what my assertion of him is. He was before
Well,
my
see,
time, but I could not
that was
imagine
part of
him.
Martin Luther King. That was part of Martin Luther King freedom program, was to train black people how to deal with people in those situations where you had the law on your side, because you only had so far you could cross the line before you gave them any rights to harm you, put you in jail, justifiably put you in jail. But if you stand your grounds, and that's basically what the Miranda right is. You have a certain degree of rights, and then after that, that's why they say don't talk to the police until you have an attorney present.
Any defense attorney worth his salt will tell you, keep your mouth shut. Let me ask this in the comments, because there's obviously no shortage of people who disagree with me, and I invite disagreement. That's fine. I don't always get shit right, and a lot of folks in here don't think I'm right. I want to ask you guys
the other thing I was going to bring up with the police officers.
Hold on. I'm gonna let you finish, but let me just ask folks in the comments: yes or no? Do you believe this guy committed a crime at all? Yes or no? Do you believe he committed any crime at all? Just type that in the comments. All right, go ahead, agnostic.
Yeah, definitely he could committed a crime. But what I was saying about the police officers is, everybody said police officers need training. They don't need training. If we have a record of them doing this repeatedly over and over, The training is not what they need. They need stronger disciplinary action. They gets off too easy for doing all these screw up. Each one of them cops need to be charged, just like you and me. If we would broke the law, they need to be charged for what they did, and and then deal with it, in the courtroom. As far as them getting qualified immunity and all that, I mean, there, it's other than that, it's going to keep going on. I mean, because I have had family members who are law enforcement, and I understand it's a tough job, but that's the only way they're going to eradicate these bad cops that's giving police force a bad name. And then the policemen that are standing there letting them do this stuff because they have the right to arrest their associate, but they have this. The police department is so much like a gang now. It's pitiful. It's just the police department just need to be totally overhauled, in my opinion.
And I agree with that, and I totally agree with that, and I will suggest that until that overhaul happens, don't do what this guy did. That overhaul is still needed out there. Cops may not be trustworthy in a lot of departments. Until things change, doing what he did can get you shot. How is that so hard for folks to understand? I'll give you the last word.
Well, see, that's what the last word. Like I was telling you, how I had dealt with cops. And I mean, I have ticked some cops off because they could not trigger me into breaking the law. And then they was even more angrier when I knew my rights. I mean, I had one cop followed me for a whole year before I had to get him wrote up 3 times before they did something about it.
Wow.
A whole year.
That's bad. The crazy thing is any African American, certainly over 30, probably has stories, particularly if you lived in an urban area. We all have stories, and that's what I wanted to make it clear. I'm not on here pretending like cops for Halo.
The funny part about it, I was raised in a small country town and this went on.
Wow.
And the only thing I feel that saved me is by being in a small country town and well known. Because if I wasn't, I don't think them situations would have been good with me in either time.
Well, I'm glad you're still here, but I got to move it on, man. I appreciate you coming through.
Hey, thank you for letting me in, man.
Always a pleasure. Look forward to hearing from you in the future. All right. Okay. The comments coming in. I understand folks are not going to agree with me on this. That's what we're here for. We're here to have a civilized dialogue back and forth. It's not to get you to agree. You're not necessarily trying to get me to agree. I want to hear your point. Some of you guys have made some legitimate points, and sometimes I'm willing to say on some conversations, that actually makes more sense than what the hell I'm saying. But not on this case right now that I'm seeing. I see a fair bit of folks in the comments suggesting that he did not commit a single crime at all. Most folks, when I asked that question, did say yes, he committed a crime. But there were a few folks suggesting he did absolutely nothing wrong. How can you even have police in America with any effectiveness at all if you have citizens that can look at something like that and say the guy ain't done nothing wrong at all? He should just be sent home to his folks. You ever heard of the phrase, if it looks like a duck, it walks like a duck, it quacks like a duck? He's wearing a ski mask, running from police at high speed, got a firearm on the seat of his car. You're telling me this duck is a cat? I don't understand it. How can you possibly have efficient policing if you can do all of that and it's not even considered as committing a crime? You're running away from police at high speed. What would happen if somebody is out at 3 o'clock in the morning trying to go to work or crossing the street or something? He's endangering the whole community, not committing a single crime. Wow. All right, going back to the box. I know I'm going to hear about it from Black Man. You've talked before. Welcome to the program. How are you, sir?
Hello?
Black Man. Yeah, can you hear me? Black Man, Black Father.
Hello?
Good afternoon.
Yeah, I can hear you. There was a little bit of interference there. We spoke yesterday, And
Yes.
you know, I wanted to just, since you know we have this narrative that because he was out committing a crime, well, there was a young white boy that murdered 6 people yesterday, and again, he has not
Okay.
near hole in him. So while you were justifying that he was an active felon committing felonies and he shot at the police or whatever he did, well, this guy on the rooftop shot a whole bunch of people, shot at
Did you see
police or
him being
whoever was in the
arrested?
crowd. So
Did you
I,
see?
yeah,
Hold on.
yes,
Did you
he,
see? Okay, let me
yes,
ask you a question.
yes,
Okay, okay.
he
There
was
is video.
he was politely
Hold on.
arrested.
Let me ask. Okay, when you see how Jayland was arrested and how he responded, and when you see how whatever the hell that guy's name was, I can't Cremo or whatever, Bobby Robert Cremo or whatever. When they arrested him, there are folks surrounding his car with long guns pointed right at him. Look at how that white kid acted with all those guns pointed at him, and look how Jayland acted with all the guns pointed at him. Do you see any difference at all?
Okay, so let me get this straight. Let me get this straight. Because you know, again, you keep seeming to want to be the prosecutor in this case. Like you've already drawn a straight. I'm getting ready to answer, brother. If I didn't cut you off. You seem to want to be the prosecutor in this case, and you've already condemned Jayland to death for his actions. Okay, and you give.
You're exonerating him.
I first of all, brother, that is unfair. I have not exonerated him. Yesterday, if you recall, I said yes, the brother was actively committing felonies. I agreed with you. That does not determine that the brother should die. Okay? So if your analogy, I'm sorry, if your argument is that he was actively committing felonies, letting shots go, first of all, again, as when he was killed, he wasn't shooting at anybody. Okay? The same goes with this white boy. When he was apprehended, he wasn't shooting at nobody. Okay? So explain to me, we have a young man who allegedly shot a gun at police, did not hit nobody, did not injure nobody. The brother got out the car and ran. We have a white boy who murdered 6 people. Okay? And lived to tell the tale. So explain to me again, brother, how you are so hell-bent on condemning Jayland, but I haven't heard you say not near a word about this white boy.
Okay, you ready?
I'm ready.
My point is simple. It does not matter what you did leading up to the interaction with police. And here's a perfect example. I could go on Walmart and steal a bag of potato chips and get caught. If they call the police on me for something as simple as stealing a bag of potato chips, if I go ballistic when the police arrive, I could face death because of how I'm acting while they're trying to arrest. It doesn't matter that one guy killed 6 people and the other guy ran for the police at high speed. What happened before does not matter. It's how you're acting right now.
I'm glad you said that, because my argument yesterday, which you disagreed with, okay, I'm glad you said that. Everybody in the comment section heard you say that, because my argument yesterday was that if allegedly he fired a shot 10 minutes prior to getting murdered, what he was doing as he was being killed should not factor into a shot being fired 10 minutes prior. When he got out the car, there ain't a cop that can testify that they were actively being shot at as they were shooting at this brother. You cannot kill me because you heard a shot 10 minutes prior based on what you just said. You actually agree with me,
no,
and you
that's
just.
not what I'm saying.
Oh, it's not?
No. Let me re-explain it, because you obviously didn't interpret it right. I said it's not what you did before, it's how you are acting when they're trying to arrest you. Him firing the shot out of the window was in the commission of them trying to arrest him. All of that is one continuous event. He's running from the arrest and firing shots.
When he got out of the vehicle, I made this argument yesterday. I'm explaining the rules of engagement. It goes the same for the military and the police. And I remember you saying that you served. Okay, I've been faced with this situation God knows how many times. I have to identify before I fire my weapon that I am in imminent danger. Right then and there, I can't tell you that because somebody shot at me 10 minutes prior, that I'm in immediate danger right now. So just because he got out of the car and started running, not a damn bullet was fired from him towards the officers at that moment they fired their weapons. That is negligent homicide. No matter how you try to justify it, look at it, rephrase it, I cannot fire my weapon unless I am being fired upon
So he should have been
at the
allowed to fire
moment.
a second. So in other words, he should have been allowed to fire a second time before they shot him.
No, I am not allowed to fire my weapon, right, at you, brother. I am not allowed to fire my weapon unless I am returning fire actively. Like at the moment, brother. Not because I heard a shot 10 minutes prior. I have to literally actively be in danger at
Okay.
that moment that I fire my
All right,
weapon.
I get the point you're trying to make. I just disagree with it. Let me ask it to you from this standpoint.
Yes, sir.
They've been told he fired a shot out the car. Okay, according to you, that doesn't matter. That's 10 minutes earlier. When he springs up out of the car, they're under the assumption he is still carrying a gun and used the fire at them 10 minutes earlier. When he turns back and looks at them, which you and I disagreed whether that happened or not, but I've seen the video, and when he's running from them, he appears to turn around. They believe he has a gun at that point. Should they first wait till he flashes the gun and aims it at them before they shoot, or should they shoot him thinking that he has a gun and he's about to shoot them?
So we are talking about law enforcement, right? That is what we are talking about. We are talking about law enforcement. Okay, if their primary responsibility is to enforce the law, then they have an obligation to follow said law. And under said law, they have to be able, again, to articulate an active danger in front of them to fire their service weapon.
Okay.
So that is literally that. So because literally we are talking about law enforcement, right? So in order to enforce the law, for me, right, to obey said law, they also are under the same obligation to obey said law. And currently, when they shot that brother, he was not a danger that they could articulate. So somebody getting charged with negligent homicide.
And I guess we'll just agree to disagree on that, because my guess is, and maybe I'm wrong, maybe you're right, but my guess is after he shot at the police and darted out the car with everybody thinking he had a firearm on him, they're not going to hold the police accountable to say, well, even though he was turning at you and even though he fired at you before, you should wait to see if he has a gun in his hand before you shoot him, because that hesitation could get somebody shot. I don't think they're going to hold police accountable to that. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you're right, but I don't think that's going to happen like that.
Okay, so again, these conversations are necessary, but the reason that this will end up negligent homicide or manslaughter is because of the excessive use of force. And the excessive use of force was unjustified. And you can once you realize that a target is down, you are required by law to stop firing.
That part I can work with. Yeah, the excessive part, I'm not disagreeing with you on the fact that it might have been excessive. I'm disagreeing with you on saying he shouldn't have been shot at all. That I disagree with.
Yeah, it's crazy. So let me just respond to some of the comments. Somebody, of course, said, because we are two black gentlemen, somebody, of course, said, but they'll be rioting and burning in the streets. Now, I find that most ironic. First of all, white forefathers gave us the right to protest. It wasn't black forefathers. So it was your fellow white forefathers that gave us the right to peacefully protest. Now, let me explain something when it comes to the word peacefully. I heard you mention Dr. King earlier, and every time we hear Dr. King, we never also mention Malcolm X. Brothers were alive at the same time, damn near murdered around the same time. Black folk been doing things peacefully since we were stolen and brought here, and we keep waiting for little medals and little awards, that we're told that we're going to be free and blah blah blah. At the end of the day, I didn't have a problem with MAGA people gathering for a Trump rally, and I didn't blame all MAGA supporters on storming the Capitol. But it's funny, every time we see a brother get killed, they blame everything on BLM. Every time we mention a protest or a march or a rally, they mention everything about BLM, but never once do we blame all Trump supporters. And I'm sure they'll say it has nothing to do with race. Of course it does. Of course it does. It has everything to do with race. That's how your opinion is formed.
All right, fair enough. I'm not arguing that race does not affect police making a lot of bad decisions and mistreating people. I'm just talking about this one case here in particular. But I got to move it on, man. I got other folks in the box.
Sure.
Appreciate you
Yes,
coming
sir.
through. Always
Yes,
a
sir.
pleasure. All right.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Not here to pretend like everybody with a badge deserves a halo over their head. I certainly would be one to agree that police base a lot of their actions on seeing dark skin. It's not just me or the callers that are calling in saying that, or folks in the comments. A lot of police themselves are admitting it. A lot of police themselves have said that they've given their children to talk. A lot of governors have admitted, yeah, we have a problem with policing in this city. A lot of that. I mean, and then of course, I know my audience does not have a big love for Obama, but his Justice Department went in and reviewed a lot of departments, particularly Ferguson, and found out there was racism rampant throughout that department. We can talk about that in another conversation. I just do not like the notion that we're using a guy who took the police on a high-speed chase and took a shot at them as the guy to point out police misconduct. Yeah, I shot at the police. Yeah, I put everybody in the town in danger running from him in high speed. But I don't like the way you're treating me. I don't like using folks like this who would easily qualify as the worst among us. How many of you folks watching that are defending this guy have ever took the police on a high-speed chase and shot at him? He is criminally worse than most of us. And we're using him to correct the police. There are plenty of us with stories of being stopped and frisked, and violating our Fourth Amendment or violating our First Amendment by filming police. Why not use somebody who isn't breaking the damn law? Why do we have to use Class A felons to point out the wrongs of police? There are plenty of us that are not committing a crime that would make much better subject matter than somebody taking a shot at the police. If you really want something, if you really want to get something accomplished, use somebody that everybody can sympathize with, not somebody that is putting everybody's life at risk. He is a bad example to get your point across, even if your point is 100% legitimate. Pick someone else. That's all I'm saying. There are plenty of folks who are mistreated by police who don't deserve it, and they were doing nothing wrong. But a guy that's actively taking shots at police, leading the police to a high-speed chase, jumps out of his car without even stopping the damn car, which means it could also run over people. You're using that as the example that the police are mistreating us. You're using somebody that a lot of society ain't gonna care about. Pick a better target. That's all I'm asking. Moving on. Gig me.
Oh,
He wore a dress wig yesterday to escape. Gig Meach, good afternoon.
how you doing, sir?
Gig, I'm doing all right, man. I'm assuming you probably think I'm getting this wrong. Tell me what's up.
No, sir, you did not.
You're breaking up
Stop.
something awful. Can you hear me?
It was an hour right now. Everything you say is fact. The young man put himself in dangerous. He put himself down.
Yeah, that's my
Out
point.
of the day,
Appreciate somebody
put
probably
himself
agreeing
there.
with me.
If you shot at a police officer, I'm sorry. If you put yourself over, that police, then you know you gotta go to the family. They gotta go to the family. But you gotta find it. Put yourself in this. You put your. He put himself there. After coming, they coming with the white. That he put.
You're breaking up so bad. I want to hear you,
I
but you're breaking up.
I don't say the police have to the right to shoot 6 times.
Okay, unfortunately, I'm gonna have to drop he's breaking up so bad I can't even hear him. I don't know if you're in a bad signal there, Meech, but your signal was so bad I couldn't even make out. I could make out what you were trying to say, but I couldn't make it all out. I called and filed a complaint. They don't care. CK 305, and that's when it comes to being mistreated by police. Let's make no mistake about it. If you go and try to follow the correct path to file a complaint, they don't always listen. Things don't always get done. Look at Derek Chauvin with George Floyd. How many complaints did he have prior to doing that? I'm willing to agree that the police need to be reformed. I'm just thinking that what Wayland did is not the way to fix bad police. U.S. Army, good afternoon. Army vet.
Good afternoon. Um,
Hey.
I agree. I agree to a certain point, but far as me, before I say 100% of saying that he was 100% wrong, I would love to. With one thing about it is that they don't have dash cams, which I don't understand because they have all these other expensive MRAPs. I want to hear the 911 call, or not the other. Well, he called in the tag. I want to hear that to see
Right.
if he called it in.
It's
If
out there.
he
I'm sure they got
got
that
his
out there.
yeah, I mean, I want to hear. I want to hear everything because so far on how it looks, okay, I can agree with you, but up to a certain point because I want to be able to see everything within what happened.
Right.
What happened?
Here's
Because
the
like you
problem
said,
I
it
have,
doesn't
though.
look you're right though. It doesn't look good. He jumped out with a ski mask, but also there's bits and pieces of other things as far as him personally that he had going on. I'm not sitting there saying that maybe what he did was justified or not, but I want to hear everything before I make that 100% say yeah.
Yeah, here's the problem that I have, and I see that exists now, is that police, and like I've said before, police have earned a lot of mistrust because of things they've done in the past, and certainly before the
Right.
age of cameras. But the problem now is that mistrust towards police is so bad, so pronounced, that when you got a guy like this that looks guilty by every sense of the word, we're willing to give him the benefit of the doubt and question the actions of police. I mean, he's literally on
It,
camera running from the police. You see the flash of light come out of his car. He obviously jumps out of the car. All of this part is actually on camera, and he's wearing a ski mask.
mhm.
And we're willing to take
But it's
all of that and say he might actually be innocent. Let's look at
but
police.
Uh, But also, though, I would like to say every time when something like this happens, if you think about it, they always look at the character of the person if they have a past record.
Right.
But they won't do that with the cops because three of those cops that was there was in an incident prior to that.
Well, let me say this. At least in this little broadcast I'm having in my little tiny corner of social media, I ain't brought up nothing that Wayland had in his past. In my opinion, what you see looks bad enough. I don't know if he has a rap sheet or not, but
He doesn't.
what you see looks horribly bad.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
I agree with. Listen, I agree with that 100%. I mean, just that's just based off common sense. I've only seen the one body cam where where the other cops was in front of him. And another thing that kind of gets me is that we're in 2022, and that body cam footage looked like somebody did it with a VHS recorder.
No, and like I said, that comes from the
You know.
mistrust. Right, and that's what I said. That's why that comes from the mistrust of police is that we now trust them so little that any information they produce, we're going to automatically view that with scrutiny. And you could have a criminal that does have a criminal record. I understand this guy did not, but even if a criminal does have a criminal record, we give the criminal the benefit of the doubt, and we scrutinize the cops now. I don't understand how you could have effective policing under the current environment we have.
Yeah. Okay, there's when you said that, there's two things that popped in my mind, right? So anytime a situation happens like that, I put myself in each one of those position. Okay, so any other cop that would have been in that situation would have done the same thing because that's what they're trained to do.
Right.
And one of the things they say is that they feel their life is threatened. They feel their life is threatened. That means they can keep on firing until the threat's done. Is it right? No, it's not. That is
No,
like
it's not
like you agree with that it is excessive.
true. It's
Now
excessive.
I can't put myself 100% in the mind of Jayland because I am not him. He's not here to say, hey, this is why I did this. But I feel like if I was in a situation where you're scared, there's no telling what you would do, which I'm not trying to make that as an excuse. But I would love to be able to hear what was being screamed at him while he was running. Well, did someone say, "Hey, stop"? Because they
Oh,
did try to hit him with a taser. You know what I'm saying? Hit him with a
there's
taser.
a video
And
of
see,
that. There is a
yeah,
video of that. When they
yeah, these are.
surrounded his car, they were saying, "Don't fucking move." Yeah, there is video of
I'm
them
talking about
aiming
after.
guns at him and yelling at him.
I'm talking about after he got out. I'm talking about after he got out and when he was running. If they were saying, "Hey, stop running,"
Well,
or "Stop,
after
freeze,"
he
and I
got
want,
out, after
yeah,
he got out, it wasn't but mere seconds before he got shot. But they're surrounding the
right.
car, all got guns aimed at him, telling him, giving him instructions. And he gets out of the car, takes off running, and the shots are almost immediate. So he ignored all of those guns around him aimed at him.
Yeah, at that time, but I'm just saying after he
Yeah.
got out and started running, because when you go look at the video, they was gaining on him. They was catching up to him.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
I'm
I
wondering if
don't
they
I
were
don't know
saying,
what the
hey,
case is. Maybe
yeah, that's
it's
what I'm saying. That's why I want to hear everything. So I want to hear,
yeah, somebody in the
everything.
audience. I've had people in the audience suggest that they tried to tase him for sure. I've seen people say that they tried to tase him, and when those prongs hit you, maybe he was trying to pull the prongs out or something while he was running. Because on the
When
video footage I've seen, it does look like he's in full sprint and he begins to turn around towards the officers. Now, people in the audience are suggesting that even though they thought that he had a gun, the police, when he began turning around, should have waited to see a gun in his hand, which obviously could put them at great peril. All I got to say is this: instead of scrutinizing the hell out of the police, don't do what he did. Everything about what he did can get you killed. Just don't even go down that path, so you don't have to have this discussion.
right, but what's disconcerting to me is when when that happens, and then a few days prior to that, you see a another incident where this guy actually fired upon and unalived 3 officers, and he was brought in alive.
In
And
Kentucky,
so when you look at
I
that and
get your
compare,
point.
yeah,
Yeah, I
right,
get your point.
and
There are
I
plenty of white people
because
that are apprehended. I get the point you're making. I just want to say this:
yeah,
anytime you put yourself in a predicament where you got to compare yourself to multiple cop killers or mass shooters and things like that, you're in bad company. If
it,
you got to lower the bar to the
it's
point where, well, at
but
least I'm not a
it's
school
the
killer.
situation. Right.
Just don't
But
do
the reason why I'm saying that is because it's the training in itself.
it. Okay.
So regardless of how you handle that situation, because you're qualified immunity, you're gonna get a slap on the wrist. I mean, that's
Well,
my
who's
overall.
getting the
That's
slap
why I
on the
brought it
wrist?
up.
Who's getting the slap on the wrist, though? When you look at the guys, even the
When you're
white
found,
mass
no, what I'm
shooters,
saying, even when you're found to be wrong, like Kim Potter, for example, she only got what, 16 months?
2 years, yeah. Something, well, she
Yeah,
lost her
yeah,
career.
you know what
I
I'm saying?
wouldn't. Right. But
And
in the
if
case
it's
of
the other way around, they're gonna try to put you under the jail.
okay, and I don't
Yeah,
disagree that being black in the hands of police may not go your way. I'm not trying to say that the police don't do racist shit. I'm just saying
right,
every
right, right.
black person, every black person over the age of 25 most likely feels this way, at least to some degree. Based on the way you feel, it would seem that our particular group of people would be the least to do something like what Wayland did. You would have to know, if you believe that, this shit is not going to go very well if I do what he did. Yet we seem to be the ones that keep trying police with these horrible endings. Vote, go down to your city council, call your do that type of stuff. Don't run from police and shoot at them on the side of the road to keep trying out the process. You know what the results are going to be.
Okay, I can agree with that, but however, the things over time that you see happen, even if you don't run, you get hit. If you run, you get hit. It's almost like
Well, I don't know about
what are you
it.
gonna do?
It's not a lot of African Americans that are being shot 60 times that were peacefully sitting in the car with their
That
hands on 10 and 2.
right,
Philando Castile is the
right,
only
not
one I know of.
and but that there's others who have been running away, no threat, and getting hit in the in the back. But the only reason why we know about it is because as time has gone on, everybody got cell phones, got cameras.
Well,
So if
I'm just gonna
it's
make
like
one
it
thing
makes you,
clear.
it makes me, yeah.
I'm gonna make one thing
Go
clear.
ahead.
Running away from police almost always comes with a bad ending. I mean, it doesn't matter what color you are. Running from police can put you at a bad ending. Just start out by stop doing that. Do not run from police. They generally catch the people, and the outcome is bad. I don't understand why people keep doing that. Did I lose
Me
you?
neither. No, no, no. I'm
Okay.
here. I'm here. That was.
All
It was
right.
just.
So
It was just a little lag.
all right. So that's the first thing, because a lot of these folks that are proving that the cops were excessive started out by trying the process of, let me see if I can run from them, or let me see if I can fight them back. I understand there's some bad cops out there, cops that are defending their egos, cops that are outright racist, but you don't have to do dumb stuff like this to
It's
prove it. If
yeah.
you got a
I
cop that's
I
mistreating you, go ahead.
yeah. I hear what you're saying.
Those who are suggesting that, what is that? Pink Bella said people are running out of fear. The law does not allow you to just take off running from the cops because you're scared. If they are trying to stop you or pull you over for a traffic violation, yeah, you might be scared, but the law does not allow. You know, the minute you get behind the wheel of a car, you could potentially be pulled over. There are cops out patrolling the highways and streets. If you're that afraid of cops, don't drive a car. Almost anyone that has been driving for any length of time has gotten pulled over while driving a vehicle. It is almost a guarantee that if you drive a vehicle in America, eventually you're going to get pulled over. If you're afraid of cops, don't drive a car, because it's going to happen, and you cannot just take off running saying I'm scared. Just don't even drive. All right, moving on. For some reason, my last caller dropped out. I don't know what happened, but real money jiggles. Let me try. No Karens obeying cops. Michael Brown attacked the police officer. I'm just simply saying, I see somebody. Real money. Good
Good
afternoon.
afternoon, sir. How are you? I hope you had a great 4th of July.
Oh, it was all right. It was all right.
Nice. Obviously, terrible what happened there in Chicago as well. And I think that's the.
Yes.
I'm not going to look at what's right, what's wrong. I like to look at the solutions, or where do I think the problem's occurring. And again, I
I'm
think
with that.
the problem occurs with Amendment 13, forcing police to go after minorities to get them into the indentured servitude of the justice system. So I believe we focus on minimal crimes within society because we can charge the citizens for that, compared to the R or abuse or murder charges, which are a lot more difficult to do. So it's a revenue generator,
Okay.
is very much what it is. Secondly,
All
I was on
right.
a live with a gentleman the other night, and I asked basic questions. If the police have killed more citizens than the Taliban have in 20 years, and the Taliban did it with 9/11 in a war, and we consider them terrorists, what do we consider police? Then I ask, if a officer is an arresting force, why is his gun on his strong side and taser on his secondary? And this gentleman explained to me he was actually in military. He was military police. He also worked in the jails, and he was also a police officer at one stage. And his suggestion, even from working with people in the jails, was every police officer should have to work in the jail, because you don't get a weapon. You get taught to defuse situations. You get taught to treat people who are even
Well,
convicts with
let me
respect.
say this. Okay, I'll let you continue, but let me
Yeah.
say this. If you are a correctional officer, meaning if you work in a jail, because Wayland, not only did he shoot at police, but he got out and was trying to run, and they tried to tase him.
Oh,
So it's pretty clear that he was not going to allow himself to be peacefully arrested. If you're a correctional officer with no guns in the process, they are known for beating the hell out of inmates that are violent. So if they try to put handcuffs on you in prison and you fight back, they beat the crap out of you. They don't have guns, but they still can kill, and often do kill people. So
I'd
I
much
don't know
rather
if
see an
sending them to,
officer beat somebody up than shoot them cold blind with
but
them and
no,
their friends
they
with six
still
people
kill
having
you
target
though.
practice.
They still kill. Correctional
And
officers kill
I
inmates
agree.
all the time.
Any type of violence like that is wrong. And what this guy was saying, obviously, he wasn't treating people like that. He was able to see the more humane side, and it really helped him in the police force, he said, because it helped him interact. But the most important thing was asking about the gun belt. And he said when he was military police, his gun was here, and he gets a taser on his strong side. When they were dealing with trained murderers of military, they approach them with the taser first. Our police approach our citizens with a gun. He had to
Now,
get
what?
retrained.
Okay,
He had to get
I get.
retrained
Okay, what
on
about
that.
shooting? Okay, let's say we did everything you're talking about. What about if the person shoots at you though? I mean, because they're under the impression, and I see folks are saying there's no proof that he shot at the cops or whatever.
I
The
believe he
cops
shot from the
announced on the
car, and I
radio.
believe there was a bullet left from there when he was driving down the road. There was a shot
Well, no,
fired
no,
out the
that's
window,
not.
I
That's
believe.
not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm
Correct.
saying. I'm saying that the cops chasing this guy heard over the radio shots fired from another one of their officers. So they clearly believe that this guy had tried to shoot at police when they caught up with him. What
Understandable.
were they supposed to
And
do?
if he turned, what are the rules of engagement for military? Can I shoot somebody in military if they've got a cell phone? Or don't I have to be shot at first? Don't I have to? Aren't there lots of rules of engagement? So why
But
do our police deal with different?
hear
No,
over
but
the?
the question is, why do our police have different rules of engagement for dealing with citizens than we have for dealing with terrorists? If a military shot a terrorist in the back, or anybody in Afghanistan or any of these countries with a cell phone and shot them in the back, then if one of them
Okay,
turned and shot at
okay.
one of them,
Wait a minute. You're involving a lot. I get what you're saying,
well,
but
what
you're
I'm doing is
involving a
I'm
lot of
looking at the
stuff.
large picture. I'm not looking at the
Okay,
specific case.
and you're
So
looking
I
at the
apologize
larger.
if you want me to look at the specific case.
Okay, you're looking at a larger picture, and you're introducing a
Correct.
lot of stuff that has nothing to do with this particular case. The cell phone, there are people who have been shot with cell
Well,
phones. Tamir Rice got shot with a BB gun. I
correct.
understand that stuff. This guy shot at the police and was
What
running away at high speed. He doesn't qualify for that conversation.
the person who was shot at gets the right to defend themselves. And like the chief of police said, every bullet shot down range by the officers is going to have to be accounted for. And every bullet has to be a fear factor behind it. So I believe when one officer shot, I'm not saying the officer shooting was wrong in that situation. I believe the other 6 or 7 officers there who just respond with, oh, it's open field day now. I don't know why they shot.
Okay, all
That's the
right. So
problem that
you
I
do
have is
believe?
it appeared to be a
So
mass
you
execution, not one officer defending himself, but a mass
okay?
execution of pinning down somebody, and let's have target practice and have fun with
What if
this
he was
person.
only shot once? What if he was only shot once? Would you think that was justified?
No, I 100% better, yes. Because more than likely, the police
Okay.
officer isn't going to shoot him in the head. He shot him in the leg. He's injured him,
Well,
and he's in jail
but
right now.
that's what I'm saying. You do
100%.
understand being
There's a
in the
difference of
military.
defense
Oh,
and
wait a
mass
minute.
murder.
Let me get
Pardon
some
me, sir.
counterpoints here. You do understand that even if they shot at him once, police are trained to shoot to kill. So you do agree that they were in a position based on his actions to at least fire one shot in attempt to neutralize him. You said
Don't
if he was shot
disagree.
once, you would understand.
Don't disagree. It's the 60 shots that
Okay.
seemed to come from random angles who didn't seem to be an attack, but they heard, oh, my friend is shooting, which means I get to shoot. I don't know
Okay.
what justified
We
them to
don't
shoot other than
disagree.
another officer shooting. So it comes back to
Yeah.
the training.
So in other words, we both agree that it was a justifiable shoot. They just shot him too many times. We both agree the
So,
man put himself in a situation that made him a
correct.
justifiable shooting, right?
Well, again, being Irish, I'm still of the ilk of a police officer still shouldn't be shooting somebody. His job is to take the shots and try to defuse it. And last case scenario is to try to end the life of the citizen. I just see too many mass shooters being taken in without even a shot fired at them.
Okay.
And I
But
don't understand that. So I don't
you
understand
just
the
said
justification of the police. So why am I justifying that
try to
this
take the
one guy was
man in
shot?
peacefully. You just said try to take the man in peacefully before shooting, correct?
An arresting force. I thought that's what the police were, an
Right.
arresting force. I thought that's what they
Right.
were.
But
I thought they were an arresting force,
at
not a
what
deadly force.
Right. At what stage, okay, you tried to pull him over. That's step one. He ran and shot at you. You caught up with him. You surrounded the car and told him to get out. He ignored that. That's step two. You tried to tase him. He ran from that. That's step three. At what point do you realize this guy is not going to allow you to take him in peacefully?
I got 7-on-1. If I've got to shoot somebody 7-on-1, I've never really been in a fight before in my entire life, and I've been a bully my whole life, is what I'd say. Because personally, I don't understand that. That's just me. I don't understand that situation. I really don't. I really can't justify it. And I understand it might be okay, but personally, just me morally, I can't understand that aspect. Somebody didn't. Oh, so somebody tried to run me off the road, so I should go down and shoot them later on because they tried to run me off the road. No. Are they trying to run me off the road right now? No, they did that half hour ago. They're out of the car running away.
Yeah,
So
that doesn't
am I
apply
to
to this
take every
situation,
single
though.
action of anybody nearly
Yeah,
killing me as a reason that
yeah,
I can just follow them down the road and shoot them?
I think you're applying situations that, I mean, like the half hour and all that. That stuff doesn't apply to this situation. If that happened in a situation, another situation, I'm willing to agree with you. But this one here, in the totality of the subject, they attempted to pull him over. He
Correct.
took off running. While running, he fired a shot at cops. When they caught up with him, they had him surrounded. He jumped out of the car, took off running some more. They're trying to tase him. He is still running. In that entire chain of events, this guy has shown you, I am not going to comply. I am going
So
to fight
10 minutes
back and
later,
continue fighting back.
correct. But 10 minutes earlier, he shot one bullet out the side window, from what I understand. And there's not been another shot fired since, and he's running. So again, I thought police were an arresting force. And just when I see a traffic stop
They're
turning
not
into a
going to
mass
arrest you when you're
execution,
shooting at them.
I don't agree with that.
Once you shoot at a cop, there is no guarantee they're going to peacefully arrest you at that point.
And
The
that's the
minute you
problem.
do that, all bets are off.
And that's the problem, because they're not Judge Dredd. It doesn't matter if I shoot at a police officer. I still get my day in court. I still get my day in court.
Why would you shoot at cops and hope for a day in court? Why not just not shoot at them? Did I lose you? Your volume, your audio went. I can't hear you. Can you hear me? Okay, I don't know what happened there. Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, sorry, I had a phone call come in. Are you there?
Okay. All right. Yeah, my question is this. Instead of shooting at cops and expecting a day in court, why
Correct.
not just not shoot at them?
Never. I don't disagree with that. 100%. Never shoot at police officers. Pull over, do your thing. But I'm not justifying what he did at all. At all. But I'm also not justifying that shooting at police officers should be a death warrant in the streets. That's all. What's the solution? I don't know. But I just don't think that when I see so many mass shooters.
Since the founding of America, since the founding of this country, shooting at law enforcement has always been something that could get you killed. And that is not going to change.
So now we just have, if you shoot at a police officer, there's no more justice system. They can just execute you with their friends in the street. I don't agree with that.
Don't shoot at cops. I cannot say this any clearer than this. Just do not shoot at cops. Quit arguing on what should happen if I shoot.
Adhere to their authority.
Hold on, hang on. This is my point. Instead of arguing constantly on what should happen to you if you shoot at cops, just don't do it.
I think we should argue about why cops are doing this and how we fix the justice system. That's the biggest
Because they're
issue.
being shot at.
And at the moment,
shot at is why they're doing this.
Anybody, I agree with you. I would recommend, when I get pulled over, even looking like this, my hands are out the window when the officer's walking up. I know to do these things, hand on the wheel. I understand this, and I don't understand why people might go that other route. But if they do, I still don't agree it should be, just because I would much rather say the people who are doing the mass shootings, can we put them in the town square and let every citizen shoot at them instead?
I'm fine with discussing mass shootings, but I'm just going to simply say, for anybody out there, including yourself that are watching, if you shoot at cops and you're expecting a day in court and a jury and all of that, good luck. I mean, you're really playing a Russian roulette game with your life. Just don't shoot at cops. That is the simple solution to this. Do not shoot at police officers. It is a bad outcome 99% of the time.
Yeah, I agree. And the scariest thing about it is, if you shoot at citizens, you'll get taken to jail nicely and you'll get your day in court. If you shoot at police, you'll get executed in the streets.
Well, once again, our country has always treated law enforcement, because of the job and the oath they've taken, a little bit higher than citizens. I'm not saying that's right or not, but this is stuff and particularly from the African-American community who are suggesting that this guy didn't deserve to die. We know from our side of the aisle. He didn't deserve to die. Well, the cops he was shooting at didn't deserve to die either.
He didn't kill a cop. He didn't shoot a cop. He didn't hit a cop. No cop died.
He
didn't deserve to die. He deserved to be in jail. 100%. 100%. He deserved to be in jail for his actions. 100%.
Okay. Well, you'll be amazed at how many folks I've had on here that said he didn't do nothing wrong.
Traffic stop, you run, you break the law, you have consequences for that. The biggest thing that any criminal attorney will ever tell you, only break one law at a time.
Okay.
Don't do multiple crimes at a time. And he did multiple crimes at a time. And then
I think we're just on opposite sides of this. And I'm, like I said, I'm willing to admit all day, every day that cops treat a lot of folks bad just because of the color of their skin. But this is not, even someone who is white. This increases your chances of being shot substantially when you do what he does. Doing that and expecting, well, I didn't get my day in court, or they shouldn't have shot me, or they shouldn't have beat my ass. You're
don't get
asking for a
asked for
bad
questions
outcome
afterwards.
anytime you use a gun in conjunction with a police arrest.
Best thing to do when you get pulled over, 4, 5, 6, and 14. They don't have to give you Miranda rights, invoke your rights. Don't say anything. Give them the information they need. Let them prosecute you, lock you up, do all of that stuff. Stick to 4, 5, 6, and 14. Have your day in
Yep.
court. You have to go
All right,
through the system to fight the system. So I appreciate your time, and sorry if we came off or if I came off wrong. I
No,
appreciate
you're
what
good.
you're
You're
doing.
good, and you're welcome. And you're welcome back anytime. All right,
No, I appreciate your time and your
drop out.
conversation. Bye-bye, sir.
Yeah, all right. Catch you later. I got to drop out because my phone is overheating. We'll pick it up later. But some of the mindset in this, I don't get it. I'll catch you guys later.